Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Interesting Ideas on a turbulent Thursday. It is for me. It is for many of us. That's right. For some reason, there's a little bit of turbulence on Thursday. And there I have a title, which is obviously clickbait. It's there perhaps for you to say, well, what in the world does he mean by that? And is it worth a few minutes of me trying to find out what that program could be about? So I hope it would be, and I hope it will be, but it's based on something that I think is very, very important, particularly in our world and in particularly our politics today. So that's the interesting idea. Why do I have a picture of me looking at a statue of a naked man? Let's see where that goes. Okay, there's nothing shocking about it at all. But here's what happened. Many, many years ago, when Karen and I decided we saved up our money and we got a good trip to Europe. And we made, I was a teacher at that time, and we made, just shortly after Amy, our first daughter, was born, she went and stayed with Grandma, and we took a month-long trip to Europe. You know, we were going to Amsterdam and then Paris and then Italy and Rome and then Germany and then go up to London and, you know, kind of make the circuit and see Europe. And it was our first trip there. It just so happened that one of our favorite places turned out to be the city of Florence in Italy, the city of the Renaissance. And of course, as a history teacher, all of these places had historical significance for me, and I just loved it. I was just thrived. And so we for sure were going to see in Florence one of the most famous works of art in the world in Florence, and that is the Michelangelo picture of the biblical character David with the slingshot. World famous statue, and it almost has, as those of you who've seen it, practically a museum of its own where it is displayed. Well, what happened, we went there, and I just for some reason, I just went past, and what happened was I walked up to it, and I just looked up at it, and my wife was about, you know, some yards back, and she just snapped a picture of me doing that. And when the picture came back, it was amazing. For some reason, there was nobody else in the picture but me. I mean, there are obviously other people around, but for some reason, in that split second that she took the picture, there was no one there around that you could see the statue. There it was, and the light shining down from the ceiling on the statue and then kind of reflecting on me. And for some reason, the shadowing and the shading, it actually looked, and many people commented when they saw it, it looked like a classic, you know, one of those photo pictures taken for a magazine, just perfect. Everything about the picture was just perfectly put together. And it made a very, very, you know, outstanding picture. And so, of course, I put it in a frame, and I kept it because that reminded me of our wonderful trip to Florence. And whenever anybody saw it, they commented on it, and it was so much fun to just simply say, no, it wasn't a professional photographer at all. It was just Karen with a snapshot camera, and for some reason, the serendipity of it all, it turned out classic picture. Well, that's part of my story of why it's there. And it's not that very, obviously, it's nothing shocking or anything like that. But what I did was, one of the reasons I kept it, and kept it out from time to time, is that it reminded me of something I began to learn, and I particularly began to learn it as I became a business performance coach. Because the whole idea, the term Renaissance man, Renaissance woman, that came to be a term that was used for very few people. And what it meant is that if a man or a woman was Renaissance, they were full of many new interests. They had lots of curiosity. The thing that kind of sparked the Renaissance in Western civilization, men and women who were curious, who wanted to discover new things, kind of an opening up of the times where obviously as the barbarians had taken over Europe and just survival through the Middle and Dark Ages was primary, and thank goodness the faith was there that kept it surviving. But survival was the deal, and faith was what kept civilization alive. And finally, things began to blossom, and people had to take a greater interest in their world and in the things of the world. And so the term Renaissance, a man or a woman of many interests. And so that always reminded me that when I was working just in my own life and business, try and show an interest in as many things as you can. And always seek to ask other people what they are interested in. So it was a way of reminding me to do lots of things, to have lots of different interests, to ask other people what they were interested in. And that served me well in some respects, but it served me poorly in others because I never really specialized. I was kind of a multifaceted guy, when sometimes the careers that we get into require that highly trained specialist and the generalist and the person with lots of creativity, but maybe not the ability to make it practical and useful and profitable, wasn't very helpful, you know. And I'm reminded of so much, you know, the artist of the world, particularly in Amsterdam, Vincent van Gogh. This man who was an incredible creative man. And he sold one painting. One painting. And of course now every painting is worth millions, but one painting. And if it wasn't for the generosity of his dear brother, he'd have starved to death. And his life was not necessarily very happy, but creativity and energy and seeking new and different things in different ways, it didn't work out real well. But here's where I segue, if I can. Part of our problem is that the men and women who become our leaders too often are men and women of single interest. Politics. Politics becomes their hobby often at first. Then it becomes a little bit of their obsession. And then it literally possesses them, and it becomes their life and their career. And that's all they really know or are interested in. And as a result, sometimes the creativity, the compassion, the generosity, all of the things that should go into a person of true Renaissance appeal, sense of mystery, it gets drowned out in the politics and the power and the payola involved. The politics, the power, and the payola involved. When what we really need are more men and women who are spirit full of spirit. And that has many meanings, and they're full of many interests. And in that way, they oftentimes become people of mystery as well as mastery. And as a result of that, if they are well led and well mentored and well taught by somebody, because everybody needs a coach and everybody needs a mentor, they become leaders of exceptional ability and humility. And that's what we need. And we need a lot of it. Just a thought for Turbulent Thursday. If I can be helpful to you, and I probably can in some way, please reach out to me at stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. All the best and blessings to you as, again, it seems that 23 will be turbulent times. Give us men and women's wisdom, men and women, grown-ups, adults of Renaissance interests, and great, great compassion for others. Take care. Bye for now.